There's limited food, there is limited resources, it's too crowded. And when the weather's bad, it can become insane, but never to the point of diapers and stuff. So I think it's just multi-causal.
So what can venues do about this? I mean, screens are bright, and even if you're not filming the whole thing, it's distracting to see the guy next to you texting or checking his socials when you're trying to enjoy the music.
It's tricky, but I've seen some artists who walk on stage and be like, look, I realize you want to film, and that's fine, but it's very distracting. So how about this? At the very end of the show, you take your phone out, I'll pose for pictures, it'll be fun, but until then, please keep your phones away. And that's respected by most fans. And a thing I've seen at a lot of comedy shows, at Bob Dylan concerts, is full-on band phones. They pass out these yonder pouches when you walk in, and you have your phone, but it's in a pouch, and you can't access it. And the show is better. It's a different environment. You can breathe more at these shows when nobody's filming. I think people enjoy it more if they can't film. Because if they can't film, when their favorite song starts, I see the smile leave their face. And they stop watching it in real life, and they watch it on their phone to this tiny screen. And I want to just shake them and be like, you paid hundreds of dollars to be here. This is once in a lifetime, and this is happening. This is IRL. This is in real life. It's right here. It's right in front of you, and you're still watching it on your little phone screen.
All right. Beyond, using the phone, obviously using the facilities, what are the other things that people are doing at concerts now that you've noticed compared to years ago?
I've noticed that they talk very loudly to each other, in like real outside voices, and they can drown out the music on the quiet songs. And the standing and the million beers, the spilling the beers, I mean, it's just a madhouse there sometimes. People are so rude or get so drunk that they don't realize how loud they are. So to not get blackout drunk is a big one, too.
Yeah, and obviously don't throw stuff onto the stage. I'm thinking about, some 20 years ago, someone threw a lollipop at David Bowie.
At David Bowie's eyeball. Who would throw a lollipop at David Bowie, at his one good eye? It was crazy. Do not throw stuff. Just basic rules of civility.
Yeah, and at the risk of making the two of us sound like old Gen Xers, don't look at the set list during the entire show. It's annoying. I want to be surprised to hear what's coming up next. Am I right?
It's this major issue I've faced recently. I look around me at a concert. Everybody is on setlist.fm, and they're looking at the set list super bright. And that's just pure spoilers. That takes the fun away. Just wait for the song. Sit there, watch the show. Put your phone away. Have a moment off the internet. It's possible. We can all be here together. We can all watch the show as a group and not look at our phones for 90 minutes.
Well, Andy, given how long you've been at it in this business, I should ask you, do you have a memory of a favorite concert in the past where you thought the whole crowd just behaved so well and really came together so that it was a pleasurable experience for everyone? Or in contrast, was there some concert where you were like, oh, no, this is bad?
I saw Bob Dylan at a theater in Milwaukee a couple of years ago, and it was a phone-free show. And it was just completely hushed silence. It was like being in church or something. And it was really wonderful to just have everybody just be locked into Bob Dylan. On the other hand, I saw Fleetwood Mac once at the Garden. Everybody around me was drunk and talking and filming and blocking my view. And it just ruined the entire show.
All right. Well, tell us about what you guys have been doing over the years at Rolling Stone, because I love to see that you had an article way back in 2013 giving people do's and don'ts of what they should and should not do at a live concert. And now you've had to update it 13 years later, where it's gotten gnarlier than we could possibly imagine. So lay out for us, what are the major do's and don'ts that everyone should keep in mind?
The big thing is be aware of the folks around you, that if you're standing and you're blocking them, then sit down if you can see. Always be aware of the sight lines of the folks around you, and film a minute or two, but filming the entire show on a bright screen, it's very annoying. It can be blinding. And a big thing now, if you're on the floor and there are no seats, it's a general admission area, you can go to the bathroom. You don't need to go in your pants. I can't believe I have to say that. It's just ridiculous. But you can save your spot. You can say to the folks around you, hey, I'm going to the bathroom. Will you guard my spot? And they will. You don't need to bring a diaper. I mean, this is just absolute insanity.
Okay, so Andy, put it to me straight, though. Are we still allowed to mosh pit? Are we still allowed to crowd surf? Is that still okay?
Yes, it's okay to mosh and to crowd surf, but just do it safely and be aware of the folks around you.
And if you are around people who are crowd surfing, make sure to keep your hands up so no one falls on the ground. Am I right? You don't want to be responsible for some kid getting hurt.
No, you should. And your phone's in your pocket, so you have both hands up.
All right, that's Andy Green, senior writer at Rolling Stone magazine, giving us all the do's and don'ts of responsible crowd behavior at concerts and how to make sure you and everyone else around you has a good time. Thanks so much, Andy.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
You're listening to Here and Now.
You're gonna fix it. You're gonna patch it up. Honey, we're fragile. Always been so tough. Know that I miss you. You're always gonna cry.
I'm Tanya Mosley.
And I'm Juana Summers.
You may have heard that prices for used vehicles are up. That car you thought about donating to this station could be worth even more today than when you first started thinking about donating it a while back.
Donate it to this station and it could mean hundreds of dollars of support. Thanks.
Go to radioiq.org and click the vehicle donation banner at the top of the page.
An admissions scandal at Mexico's top university has potential students reeling. The school is making everyone retake the entrance exam after allegations of cheating. And students like this one are nervous.
Entonces, yo si repitiera el examen, a mí me...
The scandal is also raising questions about who gets access to one of Latin America's top-ranked universities. Next time on The World.
Tune in weekdays at 3 for The World.
Funding for Here and Now comes from the listeners of WBUR Boston and your NPR station, and from MathWorks, creator of MATLAB and Simulink, to design and develop engineered systems, accelerating the pace of discovery in engineering and science. Learn more at mathworks.com. And the Marotra Institute at Boston University hosting the Is Business Broken podcast, featuring conversations with academics, industry leaders, and politicians. More at ibms.bu.edu.
It's Here and Now. About 1 in 7 workers in this country is employed by federal, state, or local governments as civil servants, teachers, police, or firefighters. Many of them go into the public sector expecting lower pay but stronger benefits. That promise is disappearing across much of the country as the rising cost of health care is becoming unaffordable for local governments. Bob Herman is a reporter with our editorial partner STAT, the health and medicine publication. Bob, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me.
So you write that public sector workers across the country are seeing their premiums go up by double digits. Can you help us understand the bigger picture here? How is this pattern playing out across the country?
It doesn't matter where you work. The premiums that you pay are going up at rates that we really haven't seen in the past 15 or so years. But in this story, we kind of show it's particularly worse for those who work in the public sector. You know, and you mentioned this as well. You go into the public sector, you expect lower pay, but the benefits are going to be richer.
Right.
Well, that's starting to erode a little bit. The benefits are starting to get cut in several states and municipalities, and it's also forcing some workers to have to pay more out of their paychecks.
So let's dig into this a little. Governments, across the country are really being stretched. Let's look at Dauphin County, Pennsylvania, where covering the cost of health care for public sector employees prompted the county to raise property taxes. Tell us about that.
Back in 2024, the local officials said, hey, we need to raise property taxes. And there's a ton of local politics and local dynamics at play, right? There hasn't been a property tax increase for 2 decades. So people in the county have kind of gotten hit with a double whammy of property tax increases. And it's not the only factor, but healthcare costs are undoubtedly part of that. And we showed with some of the data, the per employee healthcare costs have tripled over the past 2 decades, while the workforce in Dauphin County has actually gone down by 20%, it really just shows the pressure that healthcare costs are playing in that county.
Is there another reason, apart from inflation, why these healthcare costs are rising so dramatically?
Health insurance premiums are really a reflection of what everybody pays when they go to the hospital or for the drugs that they take. And we spoke with a couple counties who were like, for example, all of a sudden GLP-1 drugs, the
Right.
drugs for weight loss, they're just creating such an enormous financial strain because those drugs are pretty expensive and they're just indicated for obesity, of which, a lot of Americans have.
Right.
And so there's been several public sector employers who said we can't cover these anymore because the costs are just too great.
Hearing all of this, I'm just wondering, are there any other answers to this problem? I mean, these state and local governments employ a lot of people. Do they have any leverage over the insurance companies that get a lot of business from them?
Yeah, I spoke with some people, like, for example, out in California, there's a big group called CalPERS. They're the largest healthcare purchaser in the country,
right,
other than the federal government. They're just massive. And it happened this past year. They actually dumped one of their health insurers, United Healthcare, to say, we're not paying your rates, you're off our plan. So, yeah, every public sector employer, they're one of the biggest employers in their county, in their state. So they definitely can throw their weight around, and many have tried doing that. And for example, the Group Insurance Commission in Massachusetts, it actually helps a bunch of state, locality, municipal governments kind of pool their resources all up into the Group Insurance Commission to kind of get better rates. But even that has its limits. And the Group Insurance Commission faced premium increases of, again, above double digits for this upcoming year. So even that's proving to be not as robust of a solution as some might think.
I want to briefly talk about the case of Montana, which I think is a quite unique case here that you wrote about. So Montana tried to get ahead of these rising costs in 2014 by adopting what's known as reference-based pricing. This is when payments are tied to Medicare rates instead of negotiating discounts off of hospitals' already inflated prices. How did that work?
Yeah, it worked incredibly well. Before Montana decided to switch to this reference-based pricing system that you mentioned, the reserves were basically gone. It was almost a bankrupt health plan. And then it immediately became so flush with cash that the state borrowed money from it for a particularly bad forest fire season. It was just a remarkable turnaround. And then a new governor stepped in 2022, Governor Gianforte, and then the state decided to rebid the entire health plan, the contract, everything. A little unclear why. What happened was the state awarded the contract back to the old health plan, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Montana, that had overseen the state health plan when it was really going south. And lo and behold, since 2023, the state health plan's reserves have been depleted again.
So, Bob, what are the bigger consequences if states continue to place the burden of rising healthcare costs on taxpayers and public sector employees?
So it's just one, recognizing that you as a taxpayer, even though you're not a county worker, you're still paying for this. But then the bigger idea here is, what's next? Like, this is just clearly, this trajectory is unsustainable. Will it mean that fewer people go into civil service, the low pay and then the reduced benefits don't even make it worth it? I don't know. It's already a tough proposition, but local and state governments have a lot of tough decisions ahead of them. 2027 is going to be bad again. How will this continue going forward with healthcare costs really dragging it down?
That's Bob Herman. He covers the business of healthcare for STAT, the Health and Medicine publication. Bob, thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Here and Now is a production of NPR and WBUR. I'm Rob Schmitz.
And I'm Indira Lakshmanan. It's Here and Now.
Funding for Here and Now comes from the listeners of WBUR Boston and Four Wall Entertainment, providing lighting, audio, and video for events, theaters, and venues nationwide and around the world. 4wall.com. Large enough to service, small enough to care.
Hidden Brain, the NPR show and podcast, is coming to Blacksburg Friday, August 28th at 7 at Virginia Tech Center for the Arts. It's only one of 6 stops in the U.S. The date has been moved up from our earlier notice. Tickets are now available through the Center for the Arts website or box office, or you can access that link at radioiq.org. If you're already a Radio IQ contributor, check your email for important information. Join us for Hidden Brain Live in Blacksburg, presented by Freedom First Credit Union, August 28th.
If you're a fan of Hidden Brain with Shankar Vedantam, listen up. The Hidden Brain Perceptions Tour is coming to the Virginia Tech Center for the Arts in Blacksburg on a new date, Friday, August 28th. Tickets are now available on our website, radioiq.org.
You're listening to Radio IQ on WVTF Roanoke, WRIQ Charles City Richmond, WVTU Charlottesville, WVTW Charlottesville, WVTR Marion, WISE FM Wise, WQIQ Spotsylvania, WIUR Lexington, WEHC Emory, HD3 of WURV Richmond, and on 92.5 Richmond and 94.9 Fredericksburg. Radio IQ, a listener-supported community service of Virginia Tech, on your smart speaker and online at radioiq.org.
Fresh Air with Terry Gross is underwritten by the Davis H. Elliott Company.
Invite all who so desire to stand for a moment of silence and to remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon and welcome to our meeting for August 18th, 2026. Regular meetings are held on the second and fourth Tuesday at 2 p.m. Public hearings are held at 6 p.m. on the fourth Tuesday of each month. Deviations from this schedule will be announced. The meetings are broadcast live on RVTV, Channel 3, and will be rebroadcast on Friday at 7 p.m. and on Sunday from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. Board of Supervisor meetings can also be viewed online through Roanoke County's website at www.roanokecountyva.gov. Individuals who require assistance or special arrangements to participate in or attend Board of Supervisor meetings should contact the clerk to the board at 540-772-2005 at least 48 hours in advance. Please turn all cell phones off or place them on silent. Item A, opening ceremonies. 1, roll call. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford.
Here.
Mrs. Hooker.
Here.
Mr. North.
Here.
Mr. Mahoney.
Here.
Mrs. Shepherd.
Here. Item B, request to postpone, add to, or change the order of agenda items. Are there any requests to postpone, add to, or change the order of the agenda, fellow board members?
No.
Mr. Kaywood?
No changes, Madam Chair.
Mr. Lubeck?
No changes, ma'am.
Item C, proclamations, resolutions, recognitions, and awards. 1, resolution recognizing a Roanoke County employee for exemplary service to Roanoke County. Richard Kaywood, County Administrator.
Good afternoon. I need my victim to join me up front. Pay attention, you have to come. We haven't done one of these as a surprise for a while, but Uma really wanted to make this a surprise for Jennifer, so she did not know she would be standing before you today. And this is kind of our somewhat informal employee of the quarter that's never really been formally named. But I want to share something else. I normally don't use my phone up here at the podium either, but in addition to the resolution that we have, I asked Uma just for a few details, and I love what she wrote so much, I'll read it. About Jennifer, title, infrastructure manager. What does this mean? Everything from laptops, desk phones, IT-issued phones, networks, Wi-Fi, data center, primary and secondary storage comes under her management. 24 and a half years from service, qualities, brilliant engineer, and compassionate leader. But specifically, what brought Jennifer to my attention recently, I've worked with her for many years, but were 2 different projects that she's been involved with that have both had a lot of consequence for the county. The first one that I saw, which really gave me, put this on the schedule, was a transformation of our all of our desktop phones completely to the cloud. So that eliminated all of our on-premises hardware that we used to have to maintain. And this was pretty innovative, and so she presented this at a statewide conference and got some recognition for that. I thought, well, that was pretty cool to kind of be a leader, and you know, obviously the less things we have on site to maintain, the better. But then the one that's probably near and dear to my heart, as this has been part of a larger project, is we have been transitioning the supervision for all of our county-owned mobile devices from procurement to IT, and Jennifer drew the short straw on that. So she is now the controller of all of our phones, really, I guess all of them now, both cell phones and desktops. But as part of her review of that, she identified some changes that we could make to our cell plans that are going to save us about $50,000 a year. So I thought that was worthy of some recognition. And that really didn't change any particular features that a user would note. It's just looking at it all together, probably for the first time in a long time, and how could we do that a little more efficiently. So I wanted to recognize her for that, and maybe just in closing, also just from a personal perspective as a user of our IT equipment, Jennifer's teams are the ones who troubleshoot all of our stuff. So when your laptop is not working or something like that, somebody on her staff is the one that will come and help me, and I know have helped you on many occasions. And that's always been, I think, one of the bright lights of our county staff are the folks who do that. And almost all problems on computers are caused by the user, typically me or one of us. And so they're very patient and work with us to get us going again. And so I've always appreciated that, and appreciate Jennifer for her fine work.
Thank you, Mr. Kaywood.
Will the clerk please read the resolution?
Resolution recognizing Jennifer Chitwood for her exemplary service to Roanoke County. Whereas Ms. Jennifer Chitwood, who currently serves as the Infrastructure Services Manager in Information Technology Department, has been serving the county for 24.5 years in an exemplary manner. And whereas Ms. Chitwood, with her deep expertise as a technologist, has been instrumental in supporting a number of roles in IT over her career, including end-user devices support, security operations support, and overall infrastructure management. And whereas Ms. Chitwood is currently working on streamlining the county's processes for managing mobile devices, and whereas Ms. Chitwood identified an available change in the county's contractual rates with our primary mobile device service provider that has the potential to save the county approximately $50,000 in annual savings. And whereas Ms. Chitwood also led the county's migration to cloud-based telephone system, an upgrade that eliminated on-premise hardware, improved reliability, and enabled trust user mobility, allowing staff to answer their office numbers from any location. And whereas the project included the migration and configuration of 2,094 individual and shared common space telephone hardware and virtual phones, 1,065 voice mailboxes, and 160 automated attendants, along with enhanced 911 services and paging integration, and supported by countywide training. And whereas Ms. Chitwood led a conversation with about 80 attendees to brief several local governments in the Commonwealth on our success and lessons learned, establishing the counties through leadership in this area. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Roanoke County expresses its deep appreciation and the appreciation of the citizens of Roanoke County to Jennifer Chitwood for her dedicated service to Roanoke County. Further, the Board of Supervisors does express its best wishes for continued success in the future.
Thank you, Board. I greatly appreciate it.
Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
We're going to discuss.
Mr.
You
Radford.
want to discuss or comment?
A comment.
Okay.
Okay, I'll wait then. Thank you.
Okay. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford.
No, that's okay.
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker.
Yes.
Mr. North.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd.
Yes. Do any of my fellow board members want to share any additional comments?
Yeah.
Martha?
Thank
Can
you.
Martha?
Jennifer, I just wanted to say thank you so much. With your kindness, your personable attitude, your positivity, it is usually user error. and yet you're still so kind about it. So we are lucky to have you on our team.
Thank you.
And I hope that we can have you for a long time. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jennifer, thank you, Richard, for identifying her. But Jennifer, anytime you can save the taxpayer some money, that's a reason to toot our horn.
Yeah.
And, thank you for
discovering that. And there's probably other stuff down the road you might run into because technology is changing a lot. The private industry I'm in, we've taken a lot of our applications to cloud-based also. So it's the way the world's going. But thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Moore.
Yeah, Jennifer, thank you for everything. When I first got on the board, Jennifer came to my house to set up a docking station, bought all the technology and hardware, and it was most welcome. And I thought that was excellent service because at the railroad, they didn't do that. But they did at the county, and it helped meet my needs and get me off the launch pad to be able to connect from home when I needed. And I just want to thank you for that. And over the years, there's been some problems with not the hardware, but with me. So you were able to help get me back online, if you will. Unlike some people set up here, they forget to change their passwords, and that also causes them indigestion too from time to time. But what Mr. Radford's not telling you is there's other ways that you can help save money, because he's always saying how we need to improve our game on online applications and whatnot for the second floor. So if you want to come back up here again in another year or so and save the county some more money, get with him afterwards. Thank you.
Back in the dark ages, when I was county attorney, for some reason, technology and me didn't mix. And it must be an attorney thing. And I would call, and Jennifer would come up and rescue me and my department. And she was always very patient and very kind and very understanding. So I think this recognition is very important. And all the service you've provided, all of us in the county over 24 years.
25 if you count my year part-time.
Has been fantastic. And I want to thank you personally for all the help you gave me. And I think it's really important that all of us and the citizens watching, we like to recognize our stars. And you are one of our stars.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Board.
Listening to everything that Richard said, first of all, I want to say that I probably am a big user error, just to be honest about it. So I am thankful to have you all, and I'll even throw David Ray back there because he gets my calls really quick. But the two things that stood out most, and for most people, dollar signs always do, so 50,000, that's a lot, and it is greatly appreciated. But the other thing that stood out more than all of the things that Uma and Richard had to say were the compassionate leader. And that is just something that you can't make up or whatever. You just have to have it in your heart. And that is a true leader. So thank you for everything you've done. And I would like to give you the opportunity to comment.
I just greatly appreciate it, and I am so thankful to be working here. I mean, we have a great family in the county of all of our employees and all of our leadership as well. So thank you.
Thank you, and I'd like to invite all of your staff to come up to do a photo that would be involved with it, Uma, and anybody else from your department.
You can stand up there in front of that. Yeah, just what you want, right? Thank you so much. All right, I'm gonna ask you on the side to scooch in a little bit. Big smiles. Say IT.
IT.
Great.
Thank you.
Item 2, proclamation recognizing August 31st, 2026 as International Overdose Awareness Day. Bailey Medeiros, Director of the Roanoke Valley Collective Response. Good afternoon, Ms.
Good
Maderos.
afternoon.
And I guess we are meeting at the thing to read a proclamation again.
Oh, no.
Proclamation recognizing August 31st, 2026 as International Overdose Awareness Day. Whereas Roanoke County recognizes the profound harm caused by fatal and non-fatal overdose and the grief, trauma, and lasting effects experienced by individuals, families, friends, first responders, service providers, and communities. And whereas International Overdose Awareness Day is observed worldwide on August 31st to remember people lost to overdose, acknowledge people living with injury or grief, reduce stigma, and promote practical actions that prevent overdose and save lives. Whereas the Virginia Department of Health reported 1,548 drug overdose deaths among Virginia residents in 2024, and more than two-thirds involved fentanyl or other synthetic opioids. These losses demonstrate the overdose remains an urgent and preventable public health concern requiring continued community attention. And whereas the 2026 International Overdose Awareness Day theme, 25 Years on Still Needed, honors 25 years of remembrance and action while calling communities to continue education, compassionate engagement, timely access to care and support, naloxone awareness and training, treatment recovery support, and coordinated response. And whereas Roanoke Valley Collective Response, RVCR, a program of the Roanoke Valley Allegheny Regional Commission, RVARC, brings together partners across prevention, treatment, overdose reversal, recovery, public safety, healthcare, local government, and family support. And now therefore be it proclaimed by the Roanoke County Board of Supervisors that August 31st, 2026 is recognized as International Overdose Awareness Day in Roanoke County, and the residents are encouraged to remember those lost, support people and families affected by overdose, learn to recognize and respond to overdose, reduce stigma, and strengthen pathways to prevention, treatment, recovery, and wellness.
Is there a motion to adopt the proclamation?
Move the motion.
Is there a second?
Second?
Is there any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Do any of my fellow board members wish to comment?
Yes, Madam Chair. Bailey heads up the collective response in the Allegheny Regional Commission, so I have an opportunity to see some of her work and financials and reports, and she's doing an excellent job representing this region, and I just want you to know we appreciate it and keep up the good work, and glad to see you today. I don't know why Jeremy didn't come. He should have been here too. I'll get on his case later. Well, I'm glad you showed up today, and again, keep up the good work.
Thank you, Mr. North.
Judy, would you like to comment?
I would just like to say thank you so much. We are so appreciative. Overdose rates are down in our region, and it's because of recognitions like this. It reduces stigma and brings awareness where it needs to be, and we're just so grateful. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I'd like to invite you up front to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Big smiles. Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Did you get your paper?
Item D, public hearing and adoption of resolution. Resolution authorizing the abandonment of State Route 9375 located at 3115 West Main Street, Fort Lewis Elementary School, which is in the Virginia Department of Transportation Secondary System, Catawba Magisterial District. Megan Cronice, Assistant Director of Planning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Prior to 2011, Fort Lewis Elementary School, located at 3115 West Main Street, had a bus pickup and drop-off lane in front of the school that connected the school parking lot to West Main Street. This bus lane measured about 150 feet in length and is designated as State Route 9375 by VDOT. In 2011, school renovations and site improvements relocated the bus pickup and drop-off lane, removed the pavement, and converted it to green space. The State Route 9375 right-of-way remained in the VDOT secondary system. VDOT Salem residency staff requested in late 2025 that Roanoke County abandon the right-of-way for State Route 9375 that is no longer used as a roadway but is still included as right-of-way in the VDOT secondary system to allow VDOT to reconcile its records. Pursuant to State Code Section 33.2-909, a county governing body or an interested landowner can initiate the Section 33.2-909 abandonment of a secondary road or segment that is deemed to no longer be necessary for the uses of the highway system. In January, February, and March of this year, Roanoke County staff discussed the proposed abandonment action and schedule with Roanoke County staff, Supervisor Hooker, Roanoke County Public Schools administration staff, and Fort Lewis Elementary School Principal Hires Smith. Roanoke County Public Schools Superintendent, Dr. Ken Nicely, provided a letter of support for the abandonment on February 20th, 2026. It was agreed that the abandonment process would start after the last day of school in May and would conclude in mid-August. The notice of intent to abandon process was initiated on June 8th, 2026, and concluded on July 7th, 2026. And the public hearing advertisement process was initiated on July 13th, 2026, and concludes with today's public hearing. The notice of intent to abandon and the public hearing advertisement processes included posting 2 sets of 3 signs along the right-of-way to be abandoned for at least 30 days each, publishing the notice of intent to abandon and the public hearing actions twice each in the newspaper, sending 2 rounds of letters to adjoining and nearby property owners, and providing materials to Fort Lewis Elementary School in May and in August explaining the abandonment action and process for school families. No public comments have been received during the notice of intent to abandon process or during the public hearing advertisement process. I called Principal Smith this morning, and she received only 1 question throughout the entire process. Pursuant to State Code Section 33.2-909, within 4 months after the public hearing, the Board of Supervisors shall either approve a resolution abandoning the section of highway or dismiss the proposed abandonment and provide VDOT a resolution indicating that the locality does not support the abandonment and request that the mileage remain in the VDOT inventory. There's no fiscal impact associated with this item, and staff recommends holding the public hearing and adopting the resolution. Happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
Are there any questions for Ms. Kernice?
No questions.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing. Has anyone signed up to speak? Is there anyone who would like to speak that has not signed up? I will close the public hearing. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
Madam Chair, this is in the Catawba District, and I would like to move to adopt the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
I will just say real quickly that this is a lot of work for something that should be simple. Just because of the widening of 11460, this was no longer a usable turnaround for the elementary school. And so there's a lot of work on staff's part, and I appreciate what you've done. Thank you, Megan.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item E, first reading of ordinance. Ordinance amending the fiscal year 2026-2027 budget for general operating revenues and expenditures by $140,324 and appropriating $140,324 to the general government fund from the Commonwealth of Virginia for the County of Roanoke Department of Social Services, increasing the minimum annual salary for family services specialists to $55,000. Steve Elliott, Budget Administrator, first reading and request for second reading. Good afternoon, Mr. Elliott.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. The state biennium budget was signed by Governor Spanberger on June 29th, 2026. Included in the budget was a provision and funding to increase the minimum annual salary for family services specialists to $55,000. Approximately 30 employees at Roanoke County will receive a salary adjustment to bring them to the state minimum of $55,000. Approval of this ordinance will adjust general operating revenues and expenditures by $140,324 to increase minimum annual salaries of family services specialists to $55,000, including any associated benefits. The amendment reflects changes in state funding and associated expenditures and does not require the use of additional county general fund revenues. This amendment will be retroactive to July 1, 2026. This action will only ensure Roanoke County is compliant with what is required by the General Assembly and will not address compression within the departments and countywide, which is significant and very costly. Staff will continue to monitor this organizational impact and will look for opportunities to address these salary compression issues if budget permits throughout the year. Staff recommends approval of this ordinance and scheduling a second reading for September 8th, 2026.
Are there any questions for Mr. Elliott? Is there a motion to approve the first reading of the ordinance and to schedule the second reading for September the 8th, 2026?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
Just a comment. This is just another example of the Commonwealth of Virginia's late budget being adopted on June 29th. This is just one of many examples that the counties didn't have time to study, analyze, and address future compression issues, not to mention school resource officers, which was another category that got whacked from the budget, and we lost $322,000, and we're going to have to talk to schools about it. VACO has made our intentions known that this cannot continue in the future. Otherwise, it's just going to cause more consternation on localities across the Commonwealth. And as incoming president-elect of Virginia counties, it's one of my goals to emphasize more efficiency in getting budgets, information out to counties so we don't have to go through this in the last minute. So thank you for sharing one example.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes, thank you. Item F, second reading of ordinances and public hearings. 1, the petition of Network Towers 2 LLC to obtain a special use permit to construct a wireless communication facility, Class 3, approximately 199 feet in height on approximately 2.62 acres, zoned I-1, low-intensity industrial district, located at 0 Meacham Road and 6155 Twine Hollow Road, Catawba Magisterial District. Philip Thompson, Director of Planning, second reading and public hearing. Mr. Thompson.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. As you mentioned, this is an application for a special use permit for a cell tower for 199 feet. Property is located off of Meacham Road, which is off of Twine Hollow in the near the Dow Hollow area, adjacent to or north of Interstate 81. Again, 6155 Twine Hollow Road and 0 Meacham Road are the two addresses of the two properties. They are about 2.62 in total of the two properties that are currently vacant, and they're proposing to put a cell tower. We've redefined our ordinances now to call it wireless communication facilities Class 3. Again, just an aerial view of where the tower would be located. Again, a couple of photographs. This is along Meacham Road. The frontage along Meacham Road is pretty heavily wooded, so I don't think you'll see the equipment or the base from Meacham Road. Again, these are just showing a few of the photographs along Meacham Road. And this is from the industrial side of Twine Hollow on the property, looking back towards that property where the tower will be located. So fairly heavily wooded location. We define wireless communication facility as all infrastructure and equipment, including but not limited to antenna support structures, antennas, transmission cables, equipment shelters, equipment cabinets, utility pedestals, ground equipment, fencing, signage, and other ancillary equipment associated with the transmission and reception of wireless communications. We have 3 different classes. Class 3 goes from 120 to 199, and so it is a special use permit in the I-1 district. There's also use and design standards associated with all 3 classes of wireless communication facilities. They did conduct a balloon test on July 22nd from 2 to 6 p.m., which is one of the requirements. So they did conduct that as well. Site plan or concept plan, they would have access off of the first parcel off of Beecham Road to access the compound, which I think is 60 by 60 lease area and a 55 by 55 area fenced area that they would have as part of the project. Again, they have space for their equipment and also 3 other potential providers on the tower. And again, the view of it is they would take the top spot. There would be three other locations that could co-locate on the tower as well. 195 feet tower, 4-foot lightning rod is part of the project. They did do photo simulations from various sites. And so all we're going to show you is the view 1, which kind of shows where you can actually see it, which is off of Meacham Road. So this is the photo sim that they did and submitted with the application, in addition to those other photos which are in the application. It is zoned I-1. Surrounding is zoning is I-1 and AG3. To the south is AR. To the east is AR, AG3, and Agricultural Village Center with a special use permit, and then AR and I2C to the west. It is zoned it is designated principal industrial as the future land use designation. So it is consistent with the principal industrial future land use designation. You know, in the comp plan, or the 200 plan, when we adopted that, one of the things that we constantly heard throughout all of our community meetings was the need for better cell service, especially in those areas that are not served or underserved, but also to maintain it as well. So there are recommendations in the 200 plan that talk to that, providing that and keeping cell phone service and broadband service is very important. There was a public hearing with the Planning Commission on August 4th. No citizens spoke during the public hearing. The Planning Commission discussed that T-Mobile is currently the only provider to be located on the tower. The number of providers the tower could hold, the lack of adequate coverage for T-Mobile, base elevation and tower height, the inadequacy of the existing tower that T-Mobile is on, and the applicant will go into that a little bit further. The industrial zoning of the property, surrounding zoning and land uses, and the future land use designation. The Planning Commission voted to recommend approval of the special use permit for the wireless communication facility Class 3 with 2 conditions. The first one is being in conformance with the concept plan that's submitted with the application, and the second one that limits the height to 199 feet. So with that, if you have any questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Thompson?
No, this is my district. I don't have any questions.
I'd like to invite the petitioner or the representative of the petitioner to speak.
Madam Chair, members of the board, good afternoon. My name is Drew Patterson, and I'm the Director of Network Towers. Staff did an excellent job presenting, so I will keep this as short as possible. As staff noted, this is for T-Mobile. They're going to be our anchor tenant. They're going to be at 190 feet. We build for all the carriers, and Verizon has expressed some interest in the tower as well. This is just a stretch of 81 that is not well served. There's a tower about 3.5 miles to the east. There's a tower about 3.5 miles to the west. It just leaves a gap. These towers, depending on how tall they are, especially with all the topography in this area, 3+ miles is a long way to go along a stretch of highway like this. I'll skip some of the other details that staff's already gone over, but I do want to show that it's always a challenge siting these towers, and we try to go on industrial properties. We try to build them as short as possible while still achieving the coverage objective, and we try to conceal them as much as possible within the trees. With this particular site, we really achieved all of those things. We're on an industrial zone property. We are within an existing wooded area, as you'll see from the aerial photo here. We have no plans to remove those trees along the buffer of the property. We're going to go in the middle of those trees, therefore concealing it as much as possible. And we're going to be 199 feet, which means that we won't have to light this tower. 199 feet doesn't always mean you don't have to light it, but we did get FAA approval to construct at 199 without lighting it. As staff showed as well, we looked at 9 different areas with the photo sims. We float a balloon at the height of the tower, and then we go around and take photos and then superimpose the tower at that height. It was visible from 1 location out of 9, so it is minimal visibility as well. Again, happy to answer any questions. We respectfully ask that you approve this application.
Are there any questions for the petitioner?
I'll just make a quick comment that I know that there was some lacking service in that area, and I know that's what is driving this petition. So appreciate your care in trying to keep it as well buffered as is possible naturally, especially. So I appreciate that. That's all for now.
I got
Okay.
a question. Okay, so you don't have to light it, but with all the drone traffic going on, wouldn't it be wise to light it? Is it a big cost factor to light it?
It is a cost factor. I think what we see more than the cost factor is most jurisdictions don't want us to light the towers because it's a visibility concern, especially if you're on top of a ridge as we are. You know, we could certainly do anything, but going through all the trouble to have minimal visibility, that would give it maximum visibility.
Yeah. So you're talking about lighting it usually with a red strobe light, right? Not a white
sir.
light.
There's different types, but the most common, depending on how the FAA reviews it, the most common is the red strobe light.
Okay. I'm just thinking of the, but when the other users get on there, aren't they going to have some type of lighting? Or it'll be just completely dark up at the top?
It would be dark.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Are there any other questions? Okay.
No.
I'd like to open the public hearing. Do we have anyone that has not signed up to speak that would like to speak? And we have no one signed up, so I will close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, if I may, I would like to make a motion to approve the special use permit request. Number one, it meets the requirements of Section 30-19-1 of the Roanoke County Code, and that the proposed special use conforms with the standards set forth in Article 4, Use and Design Standards of the Roanoke County Zoning Ordinance. Number two is in conformance with the Roanoke County Comprehensive Plan, and number three will have a minimum adverse impact on the surrounding neighborhood and community. I therefore move that we approve the petition for a special use permit with the following conditions. The site shall be developed in substantial conformance with the application site plan dated April 15, 2026, prepared by NB&C Engineering Services, LLC, subject to any revisions required during the comprehensive site plan review process. The maximum height of the wireless communication facility, Class 3, shall be 199 feet. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
Just, if I could make just one real quick comment. I understand the concern that you raised, Mr. Radford, and appreciate that with the increase in drone traffic, but I'm confident that the neighbors would not be appreciative. They really like to have these things, although they're necessary, and we appreciate them when they're in place, we don't really like them to be seen if it's possible that we can do that. But I appreciate your commentary. Thank you.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item 2, the petition of the Economic Development Authority of Roanoke County to rezone approximately 1.36 acre Zone C-2C, high-intensity commercial with conditions to remove proffered conditions from the property located at 2222 Electric Road, Windsor Hills Magisterial District. Philip Thompson, Director of Planning, second reading and public hearing. Mr. Thompson?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. So this is our third application we've gone through of this proffer removal program. So it's located in the Oak Grove area along Electric Road. The address is 2222 Electric Road. It's 1.36 acres, currently used for general office use. This was rezoned back in 1983 and removed or limited a lot of uses on the property, or restricted a lot of uses on the property. Got an aerial view. It's the middle building there in this aerial view. Again, a couple of photographs showing the current building. It's access off of 419, looking towards Oak Grove. Again, more of the building itself and the parking area, some of the buffer areas that exist on the property as well. So back in '83, they adopted an ordinance, and basically the proffers, which are somewhat confusing, they eliminated uses that were listed in the ordinance that was in place at that point. So when it says, when you see item 3 entirely, delete entirely, and item 4, delete entirely. So in the ordinance, there's a list of uses, and they're saying we're not going to have any of those uses. So to make it simpler, we decided, so the uses that were prohibited on the property by the proffer condition include all those uses. So banks, retail, drugstores, food sales, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of uses were prohibited with the adoption of the rezoning. So a lot of those uses would be allowed now by right, and as part of the program, we're trying to remove barriers for future development or redevelopment. So it would take all those uses off, and so those uses would be allowed. There's other uses that would be allowed in C2 that were listed but would still require a special use permit, and those are dance halls, religious assembly, major utility surface, a broadcasting tower, and wireless communication facility as well. So currently, these are the only uses based on that ordinance that would be allowed. So general office, medical office, minor utility, consumer repair service, and personal service are really the only uses that are currently allowed on that property. So if we go back, all of these uses now would be allowed on that property because those are allowed in C2. Surrounding zoning, so it's zone C2C, high-intensity commercial with conditions. The surrounding zoning is C2 and R3. To the north, to the south is C2, to the east is R3, and across Electric Road is R1 property. Again, it is transition. The removal of the old and outdated proffers to provide for future development and redevelopment opportunities is consistent with the transition future land use designation. Again, it's also in the board strategic plan. It's also in the Roanoke 200 plan to remove outdated proffers to allow for more development and redevelopment opportunities. Planning Commission, there was held by the Planning Commission on August 4th. There was one citizen representing the Heather Park Homeowners Association who spoke during the public hearing. They inquired if the property would be used for any industrial uses. They mentioned concerns about protecting property values in their community. The Planning Commission discussed the development history of the property. The removal of the conditions would allow by right commercial uses. The proffer conditions and proffer removal project process, the benefit of removing outdated proffer conditions for future development and redevelopment. The property is located obviously along Electric Road, which is a high traffic volume corridor. They talked about the future land use designation and surrounding zoning and implementing the recommendation in the Roanoke County 200 plan. So the Planning Commission recommends approval of the rezoning to remove the proffer conditions from the property. And with that, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Are there any questions for Mr. Thompson?
Yeah, I have a question. How did you guys pluck that piece of property out and decide that, how was that picked out of the air or whatever to have those proffered conditions removed?
So when we went through the process, we all met with you last year.
Yep.
All right, so the first thing we did in this project was we identified all the properties zoned commercial or industrial that had proffer conditions on them. So there's 300 properties in the county that have zoned commercial, industrial that have proffer conditions on them. From that, staff went through and kind of narrowed the list down to about 75 properties that were probably a lot like this one, right? Limiting uses. And so, that was the biggest issue. The first two that we've done had that as well. So we're trying to open up properties with, you only have less than 2% zoned commercial and a little over 2% zoned industrial. So only 4% total is zoned that we want to open up opportunities for future development. We don't have, because if you have to go through the process, it's a 90-day plus process. And when you're looking for economic development sites, we want to make the process as quick as possible. From that, we broke those 75 projects into the various magisterial districts. And then we sat down with you all last year. We went through, here are ones that we may want to, we may not want to. And then working with our economic development staff, we thought, okay, which ones have the most? This one has a lot of uses you can't do, right? So it kind of came to the top of the way. So we sent out letters. We've sent out other letters that we haven't heard back from or what have you. So when somebody expressed interest, we move forward with that in processing that application. There'll be more that come through. It's just that this one they were very interested in this property as well. So that's kind of how the process of how we've gotten to this point. We'll continue to send out letters and gain interest, but the ones that have limited uses or limit the property were the ones that kind of came to the top.
Yeah, so I knew your answer, but the property that's just to the west of it is my mother's, and she wanted me to ask that question, Philip, because she's watching.
Sure.
And she won't take my answer, so I had to let her hear the official give it, so.
She's a pretty smart mother.
Yeah, but at one point, the Radford family was trying to purchase that property, and it had those restrictions on it, and we didn't want to go through a rezoning, so way down the road, now you remove them.
Yeah.
But the four pieces you just showed, C2, are going to be very attractive, and they can be developed. So I think it's smart. My mom agreed. So, okay.
Were there any other questions?
Yeah, that was my question. Was this part of that cleanup program?
Yes.
And I remember meeting with you on that. I applaud your efforts because it's like watching sand go through a glass. It just takes a long time sometimes to get to the bottom of it. So just kind of curiosity, are you 25% through the list of 75?
No, not even close. I mean, this is the third one. We have two.
I didn't think you had two.
We have two more that have expressed interest that we'll be working on to come through. We have another one we're going to go visit Thursday as a possibility coming up. So we'll continue. Again, this is going to be a long process, long, slow process. But again, if it saves 90 days, again, because if there's a site in the city of Roanoke you could develop today, but you have to go through a rezoning process in the county, it may be more attractive for the site in the city. So again, we're trying to make it an equal playing field and remove barriers for future development and redevelopment.
Good luck.
I think it's fabulous work, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Do we have a petitioner or a representative of the petitioner here to speak?
Mr. Blunt, if you have any questions for the applicant, would be happy to represent the EDA. But
Are there any questions for Mr. Blunt?
No.
Okay. Do we have anyone here to speak, signed up to speak, or that would like to speak that has not for the public hearing? Then I will open and close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I have a motion. The petition of the Economic Development Authority of Roanoke County to rezone approximately 1.36 acres of land from C to C, high-intensity commercial district, with conditions to remove proffered conditions from the property located on 2222 Electric Road. Motion to approve. I find that the proposed rezoning request, number one, is consistent with the purpose and intent of the county's adopted comprehensive plan. Two, is good zoning practice. And three, will not result in substantial detriment to the community. I therefore move that we approve the rezoning request as it has been requested.
I will second the motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item G, consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be by the board to be routine and will be enacted by one resolution in the form or forms listed below. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Does any board member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda for discussion? Is there a motion to adopt all matters on the consent agenda?
Madam Chairman, I would make a motion to approve the approval of the 18 items on our consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
Yes, ma'am. I'm a little skittish about saying anything, because the last time I said anything about the grant from Department of Criminal Justice Services for school resource officers, I then found out that the Commonwealth of Virginia, in its wisdom, pulled back the 5th year of that grant. But I have spoken with the chief, and he indicates to me that we actually have received the money, and it's in our pocket. So item number 6 on our consent agenda is it's a second reading of an ordinance to appropriate $328,811. So I'm, again, very happy that we can talk about that. I think that's important. It's protecting our children. We have, with those funds, we can pay for 8 school resource officers. And I hope that I don't jinx this one like I did the last one. The second comment is item number 4, G4. That is the accepting funds, $724,800 from DRPT for our Cortran program. And the reason I want to comment on it is I really want to praise Paula Benke. Paula has been doing a great job for Cortran for Roanoke County and our citizens over the last several years. And this is just one more success that she has been able to accomplish for us. So, Paula, thank you. With that, Madam Chairman, those are my 2 comments.
Okay. Is there any other discussion?
I want to make a comment. Just to clear the air on the SROs, that wasn't the same $322,000. That was another one. Is that not correct? So we still have the $322,000 that we didn't get in the 5th year of the grant that many of our state elected officials didn't even know had been cut from the budget. Kaylin attended the general government meeting. She's got something to say on that in a memo she's going to send out about that meeting, where the monies were shifted to another place to be used. And we also had heard they'd been, reduced and put back in the general fund. But let me just say what I did learn while I was in Richmond. If these funds, these grants, no matter whether it's DRPT, and Paula, you might listen up on this one too, if those are not used around the state of Virginia, in other words, the usage rate is only like 50% or less, they are ripe for being reduced in dollars and or eliminated. So Paula, continue applying for those, and I hope other localities are doing the same, because the state has a hard time getting rid of something that's been used, that's used close to 90, 100%. What surprised me was some of the larger municipalities around the Commonwealth, Fairfax being one, wasn't upset about that because their school system got a lot more money than they had ever anticipated. And apparently, in some of the localities, the school systems pay the county for the use of the SROs. In fact, Fairfax told me they don't even have them in all the schools, which surprised me. So you got to use them. And while I know Roanoke County uses these funds and grants, sometimes we have our neighbors that don't use them for whatever reason. They don't have people to file for the grants or what have you, and they become low-hanging fruit for someone to say, let's take that money back and put it someplace else. So kudos to everyone applying for them. We still aren't going to give up the fact that we didn't get the $322,000, and we're going to have more to say on that in a legislative meeting later on today. But we got to educate our local legislators, because they didn't. One of them told me, well, if it was the last year of the grant, it's gone. In other words, if this was the 6th year and we applied for it, we shouldn't have done that if it was already expired. Well, that wasn't the case. It was the 5th year, and they just whacked us and said, you can't have it. And so anyway, it'll all work out, but keep on applying for grants, because that's low-hanging money that we can use to operate in many different ways around the county. And thank you, Paula, and thank you, Chief, for your efforts in following through on those. And we'll deal with the fallout later on here as we go back to Richmond, and maybe we can our chairman on the governor and her staff.
I'm
think that-
trying.
I think that's in the cards in the future, if I'm not mistaken.
I have requested a
So
meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item H, citizen comments and communications. This time has been set aside for Roanoke County citizens, county property owners, and county business owners to address the board on matters of interest or concern. While the board desires to hear from all who desire to speak, this agenda item is limited to a duration of 30 minutes. Each individual speaker shall be afforded 3 minutes to speak. Are there any citizens wanting to address the board that have not submitted a form? Do we have any submitted? Then we will close this citizens' comments hearing. Item I, reports. Is there a motion to receive and file the reports that have been included with the agenda under item A?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item J, reports and inquiries of board members. Phil Moore?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since our last meeting, July 14th, it's been a long summer in regards because we only had 3 meetings, and, you know, that's why we have 18 items on the consent agenda, because we don't have one meeting a month. But since then, I participated in the USA Bicycling Awards presentations at Explorer Park on July 17th and 18th with others on the board. Great event once again. On July 24th, attended our police department's graduation. I think we had 5 or 6 officers, and one of them was a retired officer who came back to go through the program to become an SRO officer. So that's pretty cool. And so that program's working out well thanks to our police department. Last week, August 13th through the 14th, we attended the summer Virginia Counties meetings in Richmond to begin our legislative agenda process discussions for the VACO legislative agenda. Items such as opposing collective bargaining, advocating for SRO grants, as well as always asking for more money on Children's Services Acts are common amongst many counties and VACO's legislative agenda. I'm proud to say that all 5 of our board members, as well as county administration and staff, participated, and I just want you to know that that doesn't go unnoticed by folks around the VACO staff as well as other counties, and that was truly a testimony. And everyone participated in committee meetings, and so even we recruited Kaylin to go to one that we didn't have enough people to go to, and we do appreciate that, and she'll have a report later on that one. But I do want to share something that was discussed in the executive committee meeting at VACO, and that deals with collective bargaining. On September the 9th, the Virginia Counties has a seat at the table with the governor's staff as well as pro-business minded companies to talk about the next steps on collective bargaining. Now, what does this mean? We don't know yet, but we will keep you posted as it moves along. The important thing is the Virginia counties were instrumental in defeating the collective bargaining energy that was so prevalent in Richmond. And it was because counties like Roanoke was able to give the financial impact upon the county's budget, and so did other counties to VACO, so they can have about 80% of the counties identifying the impact on the state collectively. And that got a lot of people's attention, and especially the governors. And I certainly hope going forward that this is a positive work group that's about to be formulated on September 9th. And thank you, Madam Chair.
Ms. Hooker?
I just have one item I wanted to make note of, Madam Chair, and there were several activities since our last meeting, but the most important thing that I want to comment on is the VACO event. It was a successful VACO meeting, and I serve on the Education Committee as chair. And the ongoing request is that schools be fully funded by the state. That's an ongoing issue. To Phil's point, we continue to talk much about CSA, and specifically for private day school has just been untenable and its expense for the localities, and especially in our area when we don't have as many vendors who are open to that type of work and taking on some of these needs of students. And then we also talked about SRO funding, and what Phil said is true. There were several of our delegates who weren't even aware of the situation. So part of what I'm finding is that we are making aware and bringing more prominence to some issues that are impacting us, mostly fiscally, and it's an ongoing work to be involved in, to hold our state delegates and senators, make them aware, make sure they know what the impact is on some of these decisions. So thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Mr. Mahoney?
I guess good news. Yesterday, Mr. North and I think Mr. Blunt, Lindsay Webb from Economic Development, we had the opportunity to attend a celebration at the new Career and Technical Education School, and it was a recognition of two companies who were making substantial donations of money to the CTE facility. I think today's edition of the Roanoke Times on the front page had a great summary of it, so thank you. But when you have businesses like Varney that was donating $250,000 over 5 years, Alltech $350,000 over 5 years, that's impressive. And I give a lot of credit to Jason Sir and his folks at the CTE facility. I want to give a lot of credit to the Citizens Advisory Committee that was created by us and the school board 6 years ago. They were also part of that, and it is that outreach to the business community. It really reflects how critically important career and technical education is. And I had an opportunity to walk through the building and look and see the progress they're making. And everyone at the schools assures me that it will be ready January 27. So all the kids who are currently at Burton right now in January will be at the new facility. And I'm told that they are ahead of schedule and under budget, which is fantastic information. So yeah, it was a great day yesterday, and we had an opportunity to really, I think, celebrate something very positive for our community. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Radford?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I want to share a story that was going bad nationally and then has turned out really well, because it's going to affect us at the ballot box in November when we go check off whether we want abortions to go all the way till birth. And so 6 days ago, we heard about in national news, a surrogate mother decided to carry a baby that had a life-threatening heart defect. Found out during the pregnancy at 21 weeks, and that's very important. Right now, Virginia, you can have an abortion up to 20 weeks, but this defect was discovered at 21 weeks. And it was diagnosed with a left heart syndrome. It's a severe life-threatening heart defect that can be repaired, can be fixed. When the couple found out that they had that, they asked the surrogate mother to abort. She refused. She instead traveled to Dallas, Texas, and gave birth 6 days ago. The good news is that the intended parents now have custody of baby Gabriel, and they have provided immediate consent for the first heart surgery for this baby in mid-August. And the reason I bring this up is we also saw in the national news how the governor of Massachusetts and just flocked with young women, how they were smiling and just praising that now they can have an abortion up to birth. And so if baby Gabriel would have been in Massachusetts, it would have been a different story for that baby. And it looks like it's got a fighting chance now. And so this same thing could play out in the state of Virginia. So Roanoke County residents, you've got to learn about this ballot initiative that we're going to contend with in November. I just pray and hope that you'll read up on it and be compassionate about it. I do not want to become another Massachusetts or another 10th state in our nation that's going to allow abortion up to birth. Madam Chair, that's all I have.
Okay. Well, I've got quite a few things here. I want to start out with giving a shout out to our Parks and Rec Department. I think all 5 of us attended the USA Cycling event. It was kind of all over Roanoke, but ended at Explore Park. And I know the Parks and Rec put a ton of man hours and a lot of hard work into that event. And for that, I want to say thank you. The other item that I want to bring up going on at the Explore Park, and I am challenging all of you to be there, is the Parrot Heads on the Parkway, which is 3 weeks away, September 5th, I believe. And let me make sure I've got that date right. I'm still challenging them to go to the Parrot Heads on the Parkway. It's Saturday, September the 5th from 5 to 9 p.m. and the lawn opens at 4:30 p.m. And they are going to have, it's like a Jimmy Buffett, Parrot Heads on the Parkway, lots of, several bands, island-themed decor, lawn games, live music all night, food and drinks. Rocky Mount Smokehouse will be on site. And tickets purchased in advance are $10. And one of my favorite things from last year from that is my T-shirt that I was able to get. And I don't know if this can be seen here, but I'm going to hold it up. This year has a coral theme with Parrot Heads on the Parkway. And they are great and can be also ordered on our Parks and Rec website. And thank you to all of them that have been working hard to get that set up and going. Another thing, we did attend VACO, as everyone said, and I do want to thank Kaylin Spickler for coming and keeping us all straight and in line. She knows how to crack the whip and keep us where we need to be when we need to be there. Also, I wanted to mention on Tuesday, August the 4th, we had National Night Out down at the Vinton Farmers Market. And I want to give a shout out to our police department and our chief, because they were, Chief Poindexter and Assistant Chief Tuck and Johnson were all there. And there were tons of police officers there. And I actually asked Chief Poindexter, I said, who do we have working? I mean, I think they're all here. Everybody's here. Or better yet, do we have nothing going on in the county, which would be even better? But apparently we had a ton of our police officers. And Chief, how many would you say there were that were there volunteering? Yeah. I mean, they all gave their free time when they work a lot of, I'm assuming they're still on 12-hour shifts? No? I don't know what they are. But anyway, some of them had been working all night long and then still showed up to this. And I just want to thank them for volunteering their time and coming out. And the kids loved seeing them. And I had my grandson there with me, and he was able to get in the SWAT vehicle and the fire truck. The fire department was there, Roanoke County Fire Department. We just had a lot of our workers there volunteering their time. And I just want them to know that it doesn't go unnoticed, and it is greatly appreciated, not only by me, but by the citizens as well. We also did a ribbon cutting for Glen Cove Elementary. Supervisor Hooker and I were both there, and I guess they have officially finished the remodeling with the closed classrooms. And I used to, when I was a little girl, I attended what was then Hardy Road Elementary, and I used to get excited because we would go across town and there was a twin school over there. And at the time I had no idea that it was Glen Cove. I just knew it was a twin school. And we are getting closer to W. Cundiff being completed and having the ribbon cutting there as well. And then one last thing that I want to bring up, and this is someone that was near and dear to my heart, which is Leon McGee, passed away on August the 5th. And the reason that I bring him up is because he volunteered a ton of his time to the county. He served on the Board of Zoning, the Economic Development, and he was a big proponent of Roanoke County. And he will be truly missed by a lot of people, not just me, but a lot of people out there. He was definitely a light in the county. So we will move on to item K, work sessions. 1, work session to discuss Roanoke County's legislative program in preparation for the 2027 session of Virginia General Assembly with Peter Lubeck, the county attorney. And item 2, joint work session with Roanoke County Planning Commission to receive results and recommendations on the housing study from Kyle Talente, RKJ Associates, with Philip Thompson, Director of Planning. Momentarily, the board will recess to the 3rd floor for the work sessions and closed session. However, before doing so, I would like to move that the board go into closed session upon the completion of the work session. And item L, closed session, is I move that we will go into closed session pursuant to section 2.2-3711A5 of the Code of Virginia for discussion concerning a prospective business or industry or the expansion of an existing business or industry where no previous announcement has been made of the businesses or industry's interest in locating or expanding its facilities in the community. The board will discuss potential business location or expansion in the 5 magisterial districts. Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. The board will now recess to the 3rd floor for the work sessions.